The Big 12 era for Oklahoma ends in Norman Friday against TCU, with potential Big 12 title implications on the line. Here's a quick breakdown of each team's current status, keys to victory, and final prediction for the game. It wasn't pretty, but a win's a win. Let's start with the offense. The field was a mess, and the offense was a mess on the first possession, but figured things out early. Dillon Gabriel wasn't exactly dropping dimes this game, although he did have a nice one to Jaden Gibson. But in the first half, he showed the aggression that has served him well all season. The line protected him well, and he finished the half going 13 of 21 for 191 and 2 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold took his place after he suffered what seems to be a concussion, and although he didn't play terribly, it was clear the freshman jitters were present. The offense was stagnant for most of the second half, recording just under 120 yards. The 14 points scored in the second half were off a 100-yard pick six and a short field from a forced fumble. Hopefully he gets some reps in off the short week, because in all likelihood he will be the starter going into the season finale. Gavin Sawchuk went over 100 yards for the third straight game, and it's been nice to see his resurgence late in the year. However, averaging 7.6 yards per carry, why not feed him more? Jackson Arnold also got involved in the run game with 8 carries and had a nice scramble called back for holding. I just hope Levy remembers. Although he is wearing number 10, this isn't Blake Bell. Jaden Gibson had 2 big grabs, Drake Stoops did Drake thins, and Nick Anderson once again caught a touchdown. Things got a bit disjointed for the receivers with the QB switch, and it's easy to see there's a difference in ball placement, especially off deep routes. The offensive line did a great job in pass protection, especially in the first half, where at times Dillon Gabriel looked like Baker out there with all the time he had to throw. In a situation where you're inserting a backup quarterback at halftime into a hostile environment in a tie ball game, things definitely could have gone worse. Thankfully, when the offense started to sputter, the defense stepped up big time. I thought I was going to have to go scorched earth on this defense. Defensive line play was absolutely embarrassing. Outside of getting bailed out by a Retzlaff fumble, Oklahoma forced a single punt in the first half on the first possession. They got little pressure and were bullied a large portion of the game, allowing BYU to rush for 217 yards, over double their season average. There were many times where linebacker run fits looked off, and coverage in the secondary allowed cushion and looked confused. Things were beginning to look a bit like last year. But credit to the unit as a whole, they managed to turn things around in the second half. Outside of a 75-yard touchdown drive, BYU's second half was punt, punt, pick six, fumble, punt. Billy Bowman honestly may deserve MVP. With the offense coming out of the half with 2 3-and-outs and BYU driving, he makes the play of the game, picking Retzlaff off and taking it 100 yards to the house. Although BYU did score the following possession, it changed the dynamic of the game. He finished second on the team in tackles, and guess who was first? Danny Stutzman, who also recorded the strip sack that led to Oklahoma's game-winning touchdown drive. Winning the turnover battle 3-0 was an integral part of leaving Provo with the dub. Was it a perfect performance? No. But when it mattered most, and in some key moments, the defense stepped up and did what they needed to do to win Oklahoma the game. Regarding special teams, fake punt pass was cool before the penalty nullified it, and I don't expect the Sooners to bring the field goal unit out on the field the rest of the season unless it's for an extra point. This season hasn't gone as planned for TCU, but they're looking to end it on a high note with a second straight win against Oklahoma. The TCU offense lost a lot of key pieces in the offseason, most notably Heisman runner-up Max Duggan. While former Sooner quarterback Chandler Morris was set to take over, after another injury, freshman Josh Hoover has taken the reins of the TCU offense, and all things considered has performed alright, throwing for nearly 1,900 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions in his 7 appearances this season. He is coming off arguably the best game of his young career, 24 of 29 for 412 and 3 total touchdowns against rival Baylor. TCU also lost its 2 leading rushers, leaving junior running back Imani Bailey to carry the brunt of the load on the ground this season, rushing for over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns on the year. TCU sits in the bottom half of the Big 12 in rush yards per game, but Bailey has eclipsed the century mark 5 times this season and averages a respectable 5.2 yards per carry. Did I mention TCU lost a lot of key pieces? Sensing a pattern here. The Horned Frogs' 3 leading receivers are gone, but 3 have stepped up in their place. Savion Williams is a big body at 6'5" who could cause problems for the Sooners secondary, and JP Richardson is a former Poke who had 5 catches against Oklahoma last year. Both receivers have over 500 yards on the season and a combined 7 touchdowns. The third is tight end Jared Wiley, who leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 6 and is yet another dangerous Big 12 tight end. He is also coming off a career game against Baylor, 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. TCU is averaging 8 fewer points per game on offense than they did last year, which is expected given their turnover. However, they are second in the Big 12 in pass yards per game and feature a solid running back. Don't expect this to be a cakewalk for the OU defense. From a statistical standpoint, the TCU defense has put on a very similar performance to last year. TCU's leading tackler from last season, linebacker Johnny Hodges, is injured and won't return on Friday. Despite this, the linebacker core has stepped up to do the heavy lifting for the defense, including Nnamdi Obiazor, Shad Banks Jr., and Jamoy Hodge, who Sooner fans will remember for knocking DG out of the game last year. The secondary returned 3 starters, led by 5th-year senior safety Mark Perry. The 4 names I mentioned also happen to be the 4 top tacklers for TCU. Freshman All-American Dominic Williams has also improved his performance along a defensive front that will look to contain the Sooners' newfound run game. After struggling during a 3-game slide that saw the defense give up an average of 35 points per game, the team turned it around against Baylor and looked to continue to build on that momentum against Oklahoma. The offensive line is finally starting to hit its groove in the run game. Keep that momentum going and hop on the backs of Gavin Sawchuk and Tawi Walker, especially if DG can't go. It's no secret, this team thrives when the defense forces turnovers. Winning the turnover battle will likely mean another 10-win season for Sooner Nation. It's senior day, which means number 12 needs the rock. Beat him early and often, and let him put together another career day one last time in Norman. This will likely be the loudest opposing stadium Josh Hoover has had to play at in his young career. He has turned the ball over in all but 1 game this year, so getting him settled will be key to building his confidence early. Force the freshman to beat you. If Jackson Arnold is making his debut start for the Sooners, then making his life difficult and forcing him to air it out may be the best path to pulling off the upset. More than just pride is on the line as the Horned Frogs have a chance to become bowl eligible with a win Friday. While it's far from the national title game, play like it is. Okay, maybe don't. You know what I mean. I'm basing this prediction off an Oklahoma team rolling out Jackson Arnold at quarterback. I think he has the tools to be one of the Sooner greats by the time his career in Norman is done, but this won't be on his highlight reel. OU relies on the run game, winning this one 28-17. Hopefully we haven't seen DG's last game in Crimson. Click here for a video on Dime Time himself. As always, have a great day and see y'all at the next one.